Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Davina. If you're new here, I do vlogs, I give tips, sharing my journey as I'm navigating life in Canada. If that's something you're interested in, you're watching, you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe because I'll definitely appreciate it. To all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for the support. Guys, I know I've been MIA for over a year, but I'm back with good news. Finally, finally, delayed but not denied. I'm finally a permanent resident in Canada. Yay! After 4 years, guys, it finally happened. And I'm so grateful for God, for His blessing, His faithfulness. His promises are definitely true. And I'm just in awe of the wonderful blessing of God. It has definitely been a challenging time, but it feels good to be on the other side, to come here, to finally share the good news with you. So, in this video, I'm going to give you some more details about my journey, what I've experienced over the last year on my journey to permanent resident. Before we get into the video, I want to say thank you to everyone who supported me on this journey, whether that was from my transition back in Jamaica to coming here to Canada. If you played any role, just a word of encouragement, any support you've shown me over my journey from an international student to a permanent resident, I just want to say thank you. There's a video on the channel detailing my move from Jamaica to Canada. So I will link that below if that's something you're interested in. You want to get familiar on my journey, my transition here from Jamaica to Canada as an international student. I will link that video down below so you can get more details. My journey to permanent resident began in January 2002 when I got invited under the Ontario Provincial Nominee Program, OINP. There's been some changes recently. I'm not sure of the changes, but when I got selected, it was under the international student stream. At that time, we only had 2 weeks to submit or nomination of interest, if that's what it's called. I did everything that I needed to do. There was one document I was waiting on. I reached out to the individual who was supposed to assist me. They confirmed they would. However, when the time was getting closer to the submission date, I just did not hear anything from the individual. Numerous emails were sent and I received no communication, and I lost out on that opportunity. I was quite disappointed. However, once I pray about something and I release it, I just let it go. I said, okay, this might not be the pathway to my PR, and God will provide another opportunity. So in 2002, I lost out on that opportunity, and I did not really wanted to become a permanent resident under the OINP because there are requirements that you need to meet under the provincial nominee program that may be a little bit restrictive to you if you want to, for example, move to another province. So I was disappointed, but not too dismay about that because I wanted to get my permanent resident under the express entry system. So I prayed about it, I released it, and then I let that go. My number one goal after completing school, completing my 1 year of work experience, was to focus on getting PR. That was my primary goal. Once you achieve the PR, then things, not to say things will get easier, but at least that's one goal down. There's no more restriction with a work permit, constantly worrying about expiring, worrying about will there be an opportunity for renewal. So I wanted to get that out of the way as soon as possible. So once it didn't work out with the OINP, my main thing was to focus on express entry. And even while in school, I've always kept my profile active in the pool from I was in Jamaica coming here. I met all the requirements, so I was always in the pool waiting. Maybe an opportunity would come up that I did not see that something could work out. However, I remember after the OINP, my main thing was CC to get qualified under the Canadian Experience class because based on the time in the pool, the high scores, I think I finally got to 470 something or maybe 482. And I was feeling a little bit comfortable because that's the highest I've ever been with my score. So I felt a little bit confident that something would work out. And I was just there waiting, waiting because I completed my 1 year Canadian experience and all my documents were up to date. So I was just waiting for something. I waited and I waited and I waited and nothing was happening. Yes. I remember I waited over an entire year for a draw under the CEC. Nothing. At that time, I think they were doing no specific program. So that's long, a long time back. But I needed a program specific draw because under the CEC, if I was 482, that would make me a good candidate at that time for a nomination. So after that year of waiting, the landscape in Canadian immigration, it was changing. And from I got here, I knew when it was my time for PR, an election would be upcoming. And I was always like, Vina, just focus, do everything you need so you can get your PR before the election. Because once that is upcoming, immigration can switch anyway. And you just want to be on the safe side. In my case, that did not happen. Yeah, so the climate in immigration changed very quickly. Things currently are not in, in favor of most immigrants. When you look at the pool, the scores for express entry, 530 something, crazy. So based on that, I needed a new strategy. The score I had, 482, was not gonna cut it because I was like, how am I gonna get up into the 500s actually? So my work permit was going to expire in August of 2024. And it did expire. I was just like a lot of people, uncertain of my future in Canada. What am I going to do once my work permit expires? Because I was hoping, praying for an extension. But at that time, we had a new immigration minister. And they basically announced there won't be an extension, but I was hoping, praying that something worked out. Because I came to school as an international student, I only did 8 months. I did 4 months in Jamaica, 4 months in Canada. So I got a 1 year work permit. So my work permit expired on me twice. But God has been good. There's always an opportunity somehow that works out in my favor. So in last year, August 2024, my work permit was coming to an end. And we know once the work permit is ending, that's it. Everything stops with the work permit. So I was preparing myself because I did not see any opportunity. I was brainstorming with my friend. What are the options out there? What else can we do to make sure? Because my main thing, always make sure I remain in status. So there are a few things that I was thinking of when my work permit was expiring. I really was thinking about moving to another province under, what do you call it? The labor market thing, LMIA, to see if I could get a LMIA in another province. But when I thought about it, the LMIA system was changing at the time as well. So that was not a viable option. I was trying to learn French and I was like, how realistic is it to learn French in 1 year to be able to do the French test and get, I think band 5 would work for express entry. However, when I was thinking about it, I was like, maybe that was not going to work. So my last resort was if my work permit expired, I would go back to being a visitor. So change to visitor record, where I would still be in legal status for 6 months while I wait on a draw for express entry. However, God had other plans for me, and I'm just so grateful of the favor that's over my life for my prior community. I'm telling you, 2024 was a very difficult time for me in my life. At the last minute, I wish I could share more details about this entire process with you, but for that one, I'm not able to. But at the last minute, I'm telling you, things work out. I got a new work permit and everything was okay. But in myself, I never felt relaxed or calm. I was just always worried, always anxious because I just knew I did not want to get into this situation again where I was worrying about another work permit coming to an end and there's no opportunity. I just wanted to get my PR so I can finally close this chapter of my life. So we talked about the OINP, my first opportunity at the PR. This is my second attempt at PR now. I finally got the golden opportunity in ITA, invitation to apply. So this one, my first ITA under express entry, I got it in July 2024. The cutoff score was 510. My score was 513. And I didn't share how I got to 513. I actually did the English test numerous times. And I remember my friend told me a long time, Gavina, why don't you do the English test again? I did that test so many times, I was just over it. I was like, I've got a good score. I am not doing this test again. But I had to do it over, and I had to do it over several times. But I'm still happy there was a window of opportunity for me on that test because I didn't exceeded the maximum score. So there was always that little window of opportunity for me to increase my CRS score. I did the test again and I got up to 513. So, yes, I got that invitation. I submitted my application and I was happy. Finally, I felt relief after my work permit expiring. Blessed, favored. I got a new work permit, so I was able to continue working, continue with my life. The golden ITA is finally here. Got my opportunity for my permanent resident. Submit my documents. I was waiting, and that's the last time you guys saw me. I went to Montreal once I submitted everything because, guys, I thought I was in the clear. I actually thought I was in the clear. So I took myself on a little vacation, go to exploring, free my mind, just do something to relax. So I remember after submission, coming back from the trip, I felt good. Everything was coming back together. Things are on a good pace now. I submitted, so I'm now waiting for what do you call it, your biometrics? Because when you're doing your permanent resident application, you need to submit new biometrics. And I was just waiting on that email, waiting. But I'll never forget that day, September 19th, at approximately 3 3:30, I got an email. You know when you get the notification from IRCC if you've been through the process already. I thought this was my biometrics email. Opened the email and I was just in complete shock. Cancelled. My PR application was cancelled. I was like, what? When I read the email and saw the reason why they cancelled my application, my only thought was just to get through my shift because the first thing I need to do is get home, resubmit my application because when once they cancel your application, your entire express entry profile is canceled, you're removed from the pool. So now you need to get back in, do the entire creation of a new express entry profile. So I couldn't focus on that. My thing was to get back in case there was another draw so I would not miss out on that opportunity. And on that same day, when they gave me my cancellation, there was actually an express entry draw, and I would have been qualified if I had got the notification the day before. So I went home, did my profile creation, make sure I was back in the pool, and then I could focus on what finally happened. So the mistake I made, and please listen carefully if you're in the process, was my police record. Yes, I submitted an expired police record. I thought because I was in Canada since I came here, I've never left. I was okay to submit the police record because I did not leave Canada. However, the officer said you were in Jamaica for 4 months, and because there is a gap in your history, we are not able to proceed with your application. Your application is incomplete, and you need to submit a valid new police record which covers that entire duration. I was so disappointed in myself because I was like, how could I have made that mistake? And to be fair, sometimes when we're about to go through difficult seasons, God don't just let us go into those difficult seasons. Sometimes He will send indicators, warnings, because two people said to me, Gavina, submit the application with a new police record. But guys, at this point, I was just so frustrated with this entire process. I just wanted it to be over. And I was like, if there's something wrong, the officer will just send an email, a notification to submit additional documentation. However, at the time, when everything was shifting in immigration, because I know cases where maybe something is off and they will request additional documentation. But at this point, last year, they were refusing like crazy. If something was missing, immediate cancellation, document application incomplete. So I was one of those people who were unfortunate to have their PR application cancelled. And that took a, I was really carrying that burden for a very long time. I felt ashamed. Like, how could I have made such a big mistake? I was a bit hard on myself and I was just going through it, but I really didn't share with my community the extent or the toll that it was taking on me. And I remember one day I was talking to someone and just out of the blue, they told me, I'm so frustrated. They canceled my PR application. And I was like, alert, really? What happened? And they told me their story. And I was like, wow. For that individual, they canceled it because the person explained to me they submitted their WES. That's where you submit your credentials for your education qualification. And on the one they submitted to IRCC, it was addressed to the school. So they just used the one for the school when they were coming in their PR application, and IRCC canceled it on that basis that it should be addressed to them. So there are so many reasons why your PR application may be canceled. So check some of the reasons just to make sure you're on the safe side. And in my tip, in regards to your PR application, if you can afford it, I would say use a professional. Use a professional. In my case, I was still going to do it myself because when I submitted my second PR application, I still did it myself. But if that's you and you're not confident in the application, you should get a professional to review it for you. So I remember when the person said that to me, and I knew that was from God because I was carrying this burden. I was so disappointed. And I just remember once the person shared their experience with me, I felt so much peace about it. So I was like, you're not the only one, Gavina. It's other people. It's happening to other people. So you're not the only person. So I don't know. Once the person said it to me, I felt a little bit calmer. At that time, I was like, I need to forgive myself for this mistake. Because, some people, you only get one opportunity at your PR. Some people, one mistake, they never get an invitation. to apply again. And I was like, this is my one opportunity and I messed it up. So I know I was carrying that guilt, that shame, but I knew God sent that person. And once we had that discussion, I released that. So my application was still in the system. I was still waiting for another invitation to apply. So after that application was canceled, I I was speaking to my friend and we're like, why not write something to IRCC, get the new police record and resubmit. But on their website there is a notification to say if it's cancelled at the, I think it's called R1 stage, where they review your application for completeness, that's it. They will not accept anything else. It's canceled, it's closed. You need to create a new profile and do the process all over again. However, I wrote a letter to IRCC explaining the mistake, asking for compassion. However, that was not successful. The officer said they responded because the police record was not up to the full duration that it should. The application was cancelled and they will not reopen it. So again, once I pray over something, I get confirmation, I just release it. So I release it, I went back into the pool and I started waiting again. I was at this time a little bit scared to do the application myself because I was like, what if I make another mistake? I may not get a second opportunity at this PR thing. And I was a little scared. I remember my friend was there. No, Gavina, we know the mistake you made. Just review everything and you should be okay. I wanted to maybe not hire a professional to do the actual submission, but to actually review it. But I didn't. I was watching so many podcasts, reading so many blog articles, and I was like, okay, I made the mistake. I made some changes because I was having issues with my knock. I even changed the knock in the second application. I cross-checked everything. Everything that I thought the officer might see as an issue, I made sure there was an explanation in my PR application for it. So there was no doubt. And I felt confident the second time around submitting my application. So I submitted that one. I did the process, everything, and then I got the letter for my biometrics. So I felt more confident. Yes, I made it to the next stage. Even though this time I was still worried, still because I just wanted to be over out of this process thing because it was draining me. In 2024, that entire thing shaped me to my core. So I just wanted it to be over so bad. I submitted my biometrics and then I got another biometrics request. So I was like, is this an error from the system or something went wrong? To this day, I don't know what went wrong. When I went back to do the biometrics, I was speaking to the same individual, trying to get some information as to why I would need an additional biometrics. However, the person wasn't forthcoming with any information. So I just figured something went wrong with the fingerprint. So I did it, prayed, and I proceeded with my life moving forward, just hoping everything was okay. So I was doing the process, waiting. And my friend told me about the application tracker. I never used it for any of my applications with IRCC because I thought it was the same information on the IRCC login system. That would be the same information on the tracker. So if you're doing your PR application, make sure you sign up for the tracker because the information on there it's frequently updated than what's in the IRCC login system, if I'm saying that correctly. So the biometrics got through, that was successful. And I remember there was a delay. And I was praying, God, when am I going to get through? Because at this point, to be honest, I was over Canada. I just wanted to go home. I just wanted a break from Canada. This entire process was just overwhelming for me. And I just wanted to go. So I was still waiting. And I remember I was listening to a sermon, and the guy said 30 days. I remember I was walking, and the guy said, God said to tell you that thing you're waiting for will take 30 days. I was like, 30 days? My 4 year anniversary is coming up in Canada. I wanted to be a PR before I hit the permanent. I wanted to be a PR before the 4 year mark, but I knew that message was confirmation for me for 30 days. So I was like, okay, at least I have a date coming. And I remember I was still waiting because the 30 days was here. And I was like, but God said 30 days. I'm looking, I don't see anything. Now, was the message not for me? I was becoming a little bit worried. And then I remember there was this podcast that I listened to very frequently with immigration lawyers. And somebody was relaying their case because at this point, the 30-day passed. And I was even saying to my mom, Mom, I watched this podcast and the message was for me for 30 days for my PR, and 30 days passed and I don't see anything. And guys, I was just so sad, so discouraged because I held on to that 30-day notice and I believed the 30-day thing was going to happen. However, I remember one morning I was listening to this podcast on my way to work, and this person was sharing their experience about their PR journey, and they saw something in their application tracker with a COPR. And I was like, how come I don't see anything in my tracker about a COPR? Then I remember there was something there with an expiration date. But I thought it was something relating to my police record. So, guys, the notification was actually there in that 30 days. I just did not know. That meant that my PR was confirmed. So the confirmation of permanent resident number was actually there. And after that, things began flowing smoothly. I got the email, the P1, they called it the P1, where you confirm your information and then they will come back and create the PR portal for you. So in 4 weeks, I got the PR portal notification because this is where they will confirm your permanent residence. In June of this year, I got that golden email, official confirmation. I'm finally a permanent resident in Canada. Yes. After 4 years of waiting inside Canada, and remember, my process started way before moving to Canada because I've been trying this PR thing before moving to Canada because I did not want to come to Canada to study as an international student. In my first video about how I moved here, I share all that details, so you can go back to that video for reference. So it took a very long time because when I was submitting my PR application, the West Education credential, it lasts 5 years. And when I was submitting my PR application, the second one, I needed a new one. So this journey was over 5 years coming, and finally it was over. But after you get the confirmation of your permanent resident, you want your PR to make it feel official, to have your official card. So that process took another month, basically another month. I got it in August. I got the card. I think the 1st of August. I received the physical card in the mail. So that's my PR journey. I know I started this channel to share my journey moving from Jamaica, navigating life in Canada, sharing my PR journey with you. And finally, 4 years later, after living in Canada, it's over. So thank you to everyone who came to be a part of this channel to support my documentation, sharing this journey. It has definitely been a privilege sharing my journey with you, basically. The ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. I really wish I was in a position last year to take you through the journey with me, but I couldn't. It was a very difficult period for me, and I was not in the mood to be on camera, guys. I was just constantly pivoting every day, pivoting. Immigration things were changing just so rapidly. Every day I was just so worried, what is coming today to make my life harder? What is it that I need to do now to make sure I'm one of the top candidates to get the ITA? It was just a difficult season, and I just wanted to go through it, get my testimony, so when once I'm on the other side, I would come and share that good news with you. And today is finally that day. So what's next is just to continue life. There are so many things I put on the back burner because I'm waiting for PR. After PR, I would do this. And if I'm doing another video, those are some of the regrets I would share with you, about something. I don't like to live in regret, but there are some things I would definitely do differently now that I'm on the other side. So I would love to share those things with you so you don't make the same mistakes that I made. But this is my little video just sharing my PR journey. There's a lot more, of course, in detail that I didn't go into. But if you want to see another video, if there's anything you want me to share about my PR journey that I can, I'll definitely make another video or leave it in the comment and I'll definitely respond. So thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. And we're moving into thrive season. So what's next? Just focusing on thriving, building a life here in Canada. So thank you so much for watching this video. Remember, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe because I'll definitely appreciate your support. See you in the next video. Bye bye.